Hi lovely people, welcome back to another video and thank you so much for tuning in. So I'm going to do a reaction video to Nikki's recent video that she released, which she titled Did I Make the Right Decision? As we are all aware, Nikki and Jamie have been divorced. They are on a journey of co-parenting and just kind of finding their own ground. When she released this video, she did share a little bit more about some things that we probably didn't know, which kind of left me thinking to quite a lot of things. Like I had quite a few questions after I watched her video, so I thought I would share that with you guys. Just before I get into the video, if you can just please subscribe to the channel, and I would love to hear your comments, and obviously give me a thumbs up if you enjoy the content.
But anyway, let me stop getting distracted. This is something that happened to me the last week. It was a huge moment for me and I thought I would just share it with you guys. How are we? I hope you guys are all doing well. I know that it's such a hard time for everybody right now. Originally, I wasn't going to upload a video this week because I just felt like, you know, it just wasn't the right time. And with everything going on right now, I didn't want to be insensitive and just give you guys like random content that wasn't really related. But I really felt like this was put on my heart to share. And I think the message is great. And I think that we could all just use a little bit of encouragement right now. Wherever in the world we are. So here I am. So it's just the craziest thing. Okay, so where do I start? So maybe about like, I don't remember the exact time that I had this vision, but it was definitely before I started dating my ex. So I had this vision of me in a room. I was by myself, it was dark, and I was staring outside, or maybe I was just sitting there, I'm not sure, but I was like next to a window, and the window had blinds on it. It had the vertical blinds, so not like the plantain shutters, like the really nice white ones. It was like those plasticky, you know, vertical blinds, like from like back in the day. So the moonlight was coming through the window. I was sitting there, I was by myself, and you could see the lines across my face, and they were like kind of and the shadows were like on the wall behind me. So I had this vision. Didn't really think much of it, but it was very strong in my mind. It was almost like a deja vu, like I'd been there before, but I had no idea what it meant. I'm not sure if it was a dream or if it was just like a daydream or something, but whatever it was a strong vision that was like stuck in my memory, and it would come back every now and again. So let's fast forward to about 3 years into my marriage. I was pregnant with Ava at the time, and I was sitting on the couch. I think I was at my sister's place. I was sitting on the couch. The vision came back to me, like, you know, when you just remember something and you're like, why am I remembering this? So the vision of me sitting there by myself with the, you know, the lines on my face and in a dark room, it was just the strongest vision. And I looked at my sister and I was like, dude, I keep having this vision, because at this point it probably was like 2 or 3 times that it had come up, and I had no clue what it meant. I looked at my sister and I said, dude, I keep having this vision. I explained it to her, and we were both just like, you know, that's kind of random, whatever. We didn't think anything of it. Let's say over like a 7-year span, I've had this kind of image come in my mind like 3 or 4 times. I had zero understanding of it. It made no sense. I'm like, I'm in a marriage, like I'm about to have a child, like there's no way that I'm going to be by myself. Like, why does this vision keep coming up? Fast forward 7 years to where I'm at right now. It's funny though, because I didn't even think about this when I moved into this house. It never even crossed my mind, but I was laying in bed the other night. It was about 1 a.m. I had my daughters in the bed with me because they still co-sleep with me. So Zoe was cuddled up on me, and it was just one of those sleepless nights. I just couldn't sleep. And usually, because it's funny because I have the blinds in my room, and usually I will close the blinds completely when I go to sleep, but I think that night I was just really tired and I didn't close them. So they were kind of like a little bit open, and I'd never done that before. I saw the moonlight. I just looked onto the wall and I saw the lines on the wall. As I looked at my daughters, I saw the lines on them, saw the lines on my face. It just kind of reflected as, you know, moonlight would do. it reflected the shadows onto the wall. And it wasn't until then that I realized this is the image that I kept seeing for years. For 7 years, this is the image that I kept seeing of me being by myself in a room, alone. It was dark and the blinds. And it was almost like a full circle moment, because I was like, this is what God was trying to show me. And I get really emotional when I talk about it, because it's like just the craziest thing. In Australia where we live, there's literally roller blinds on every window. It's very common, especially in a rental. If you go into a rental, they usually would have roller blinds unless it's like an old house. But this is a brand new house. We're the first people to live in this house. So it was very odd that they put those vertical blinds into my room. Very old school. They're not easy to use. They're really a hassle to put up and down. It's like nobody would, in their right mind, would choose to have those blinds over just like a regular roller blind. And if you've seen my house, you've seen it's very modern. Every single window in this house has roller blinds except for that one master bedroom. I just get emotional thinking about it, like, oh my gosh. To me personally, that was that was a very strong, clear image from God telling me that this is where you're meant to be. This is where I wanted you. This is where you're meant to be at right now. This is the plan that I had for you. I wrote up this plan years prior. We make plans in our lives. I think that that's the path that we're meant to take, but God has a completely different vision for you.
She started off by revealing that 3 years into her marriage, when she was pregnant with Ava, she was having these visions of her being alone and these kind of blind kind of setup, and she just kind of vividly opened to us what the vision was, but essentially it was her being alone, and she never really understood it. And she was just like, you know, like, I'm married, I'm about to have my first child, like, what is the meaning of this? She would constantly keep having the same or similar type of visions. 7 years later, she finds herself, we're in the position that she is now, and the way that she described her current situation is exactly how she saw it in the vision. So she was in her room, and the way the blinds looked, it literally was a reflection of what she saw back then. So it kind of and she felt really overwhelmed, because it just kind of opened her eyes, and it was like a God moment where it was like, oh my gosh, wow, like, I'm at the right place at the right time, and this is where God wants me to be. And it's a bit like a deja vu. Like, if you've ever had a deja vu, it's kind of like, I have seen this before. Like, I haven't had them in a very long time, but if you believe in deja vus, you know, they are, I believe, a way that God speaks to you, and definitely visions are a way that God speaks to you if you are spiritual, if you believe, if you are a believer in God. It was so sad to hear, and like so sad to watch her video, and she got very emotional in the video. And then she went to show her Mother's Day experience. She took some flowers to her mom, and then she went to pick up the kids because it was Jamie's weekend. And when she got there, I could feel the tension from outside the screen. Like, I wasn't there, but I could feel like the awkwardness. Like, so even when her dad was asking her, like, you know, so what are you doing? She was like, I'm gonna go and get the keys. And then she explained that the kids were at Jamie's, and her dad asked her, like, you know, so how are things between you and Jamie? Like, I could see like the awkwardness in her face, and like her eyes started to like move you know, different positions, and she kind of it kind of like threw her off a bit. And maybe because obviously she was vlogging as well, and it was just like, oh, like, it was a bit of a do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, like, it was a twitch kind of moment, but you know, she firmed it, and yeah, she just kept it moving. When she got to the house, and then obviously the kids were there, and they were like, happy Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day, and the kids are the sweetest thing. Oh my gosh, kids are so innocent and they have no idea. It was so heartbreaking watching that moment. And then she was like, you know, she was talking to the kid and she was like, oh, you know, hi Jamie. I didn't hear him respond though, but maybe he did. And then when Ava bought her mummy day card, her mummy's Mother's Day card, and then, you know, she was like, no, that's me, you, daddy. Like, it was literally like so heartbreaking because kids are so innocent. Like, they literally don't even know like what's going on. And it was honestly like, I'll probably say heartbreaking so many times in this video, and so sad because I don't know what other words to use. And you know, when she was just going back to the beginning of the video, when she was talking about this vision that God gave her, I kind of asked myself, like, is it that people marry the wrong people? Like, and you know, obviously she was already married when she had this vision. She was 3 years into her marriage, and then she had that vision, and then it just kind of left me thinking, because people that are married that talk, or you know, one of the advice that I have a friend, she always says this, she's like, just make sure that you marry the right person. Like, you have to marry the right person. You know, whenever she talks about marriage, that's always one thing that she stands on. And it's kind of like, but how do you know it's the right person, or who is the right person? You know, because you've been with somebody for a very long time. You know, I did a video on Latoya and Adam, and now we have Nikki and Jamie. And when you actually open up, unveil the relationship, there's always been something there. It's either, you know, vision or red flags or something, but it's like, but do you still carry on like into the marriage? Like, could you have prevented it? Like, it just really makes me feel like, please somebody come and bring hope. Like, bring us hope, because you know, she's very strong now, and she, you know, she was saying that, you know, even being at the house that they built, you know, to have to ask, can I use the toilet, can I make a cup of tea? It's like, I can only feel the pain. Like, I was feeling the pain, like, when she did her video. If God showed you that, and maybe it was a thing where you didn't really understand what it meant, because sometimes God will maybe give you a dream of somebody, or like, a lot of people have dreams that they're pregnant, and it's not necessarily that you are pregnant with a physical baby. It could be, you know, when we look at pregnancy and we interpret pregnancy in dreams, it's life, you know, it's vision, and it's purpose, it's destiny. You know, so it's not necessarily a physical child. You know, it could be that, you know, God is telling you that you're about to give birth this year to your purpose, to your destiny, to your vision. So start working on it. You know, when you look at visions in terms of like relationship, God might even show you a man, you getting married to a man, and it might not necessarily be that specific man that God showed you in your dream that is your husband. It could just be an interpretation of what your husband will represent. So it's so important to be able to interpret dreams and understand dreams and visions. But it's kind of like, so if 3 years into my marriage, God starts showing me that I'm gonna be alone, like, like, that's, I don't know, guys. I need, like, if you've got another perspective, like, please comment below. Like, I really love to hear your comment, because I was really feeling so much pain from watching that video, and I was just like, so how do we know? You know, how do we know that this is the one? A lot of people, even from my previous video, a lot of people were saying, talking about social media impacting relationships, but is it social media? Surely, you know, if this person is predestined for you, then nothing can come between you, nothing can separate you, nothing can tear you apart. Surely that should be marriage. I mean, what she was talking about was so deep. I'm sure that there is a lot about the relationship that we don't know, and to think that there's more that we don't know is kind of like, okay, so if those things if those things were going on, what does that mean? Does that mean that you just kind of put up with the red flags? Does that mean that you just kind of like deal with things and just hope that things are going to be okay? I don't know guys, like I have so many questions and it just kind of like, it just does not make anything better. I need somebody to come and please write a hope story. Email me guys, my email is in the description. Email me a testimony, a hopeful story, because child, we need hope, okay? But yeah, so that's the reaction video. I do wish them all the best, and those kids are the sweetest thing. Like I literally could have cried watching that video. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and please do hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.